Arsenal went about their transfer business in the most pragmatic way possible. They bought players who were the best in the position at their respective leagues, Kolasinac at left-back and Lacazette as the striker. These are top-class signings and quite shrewd considering the amount paid for them. Arsene Wenger kept saying that Alexis, Ozil and Ox would remain with Arsenal despite not signing a contract extension. If you have followed Arsenal as a true fan, or as a fan of rival club and tracked them only to poke fun, you would still know that Wenger is bluffing. There is just no way Arsenal or Wenger will retain players jointly worth more than £100 million, worth more than £125 million post-Neymar to PSG era. That's profit for Arsenal, and the smokescreen will be to highlight that the player wants to leave and you don't want to retain an agitated player. We all know how it works, don't we? Except, it didn't work that way. Ox was sold and, despite his obvious potential, I am inclined to believe that it was astute business from Arsenal, selling a player who cannot make it to Arsenal first team in a position the player wanted. He could be a good winger or a wing-back, but he wanted to play central midfield. Wenger didn't oblige and Oxlade-Chamberlain left. Arsenal didn't even think of replacing him and are considering the young Reiss Nelson for this position. Mesut Ozil has always mentioned that he wants to stay at Arsenal but is waiting for his part of the negotiation to be agreed upon before signing on the dotted line. It appears to be a matter of when rather than if for Ozil's case. That leaves Alexis Sanchez, the top scorer for Arsenal last season, the top provider for Arsenal last season, the best player for Arsenal last season by far, the workhorse who hates to be substituted, a player who still loves Arsenal, going by his badge-kissing videos after scoring goals. He had everything in him that shouts world class and the hunger to score and win games for his team, Arsenal and Chile. When the window began, it was apparent that Sanchez wouldn't sign the contract extension. Wenger came forward and claimed he won't be sold, even if he leaves for free next summer. On the transfer deadline day, Arsenal agreed a deal for Sanchez with Manchester City for €60 million subject to Thomas Lemar joining Arsenal. This meant that Arsenal were open to Sanchez leaving. Lemar rejected the last-minute move and Arsenal ended up retaining Sanchez. Why is this a bad thing, Arsenal fans? I am an Arsenal fan, and although I would have been excited if Lemar joined, it still means we have our best player from last season with us. We didn't go an RVP. With Lacazette and Ozil completing the attacking three, I feel Arsenal fans will witness one of the most destructive attacking trio in the league in full flow. Add to it the fact the striker substitution is none other than the super sub Giroud. Give some time for the chemistry to form and this season may give us reasons to be hopeful. You never know, by the end of the season the pendulum will shift towards Wenger in than Wenger out. Maybe that won't happen, but the optimist in me thinks Arsenal will surely rise from the ashes they have themselves created. Why will Alexis give his best this season? When you are in your last year and doesn't plan to extend the contract, you are effectively ending up showcasing your talent to the buyers. In Sanchez's case, the buyer is Manchester City. Sanchez will be 29 this December and knows very clearly that the next contract will be his biggest in terms of money and most important in terms of success on the field. If Sanchez starts throwing tantrums, his professionalism, or the lack thereof, will repel his suitors in the immediate future. The news media in London will be looking for even the smallest opportunity to target him and Arsenal. Sanchez knows his next contract will elevate him to be among the best in the league, if not the best. With better position comes increased pressure to perform and to justify the contract. For this to happen, you need form and momentum from the current season to spill over to the next. Wenger is right. There are many reasons why Sanchez will have to be at his best rather than be a crybaby and sleep over this season. Brace for impact, I'd say. Will Wenger resist the temptation to sell him in January? This one is tricky. Wenger has gone on record to say he will return for Lemar. At the same time, he wants the January window to be scrapped. But if Manchester City returns for Sanchez, and they will, with a cut price amount for a player in last 6 months, I feel Wenger will bite the bullet and accept it. Of course, this depends on a replacement or the negative attitude of Sanchez towards Arsenal. Unless Sanchez is sensational in the first half of the season, I see Wenger selling Sanchez to Manchester City and raking in whatever he gets from this deal. Then Wenger might go for either Lima, Draxler, the latter making more sense since his participation in PSG not be what he expected. The economist in Wenger knows that losing Sanchez on a free would cost Arsenal euro 140 meters. Losing him in January will probably cost him euro 60 meters, buying replacement for euro 80 million, and selling Sanchez for euro 20 meters. As it stands now, Arsenal have lost 2 games and the only game they won was a cliffhanger against Leicester City. Arsenal haven't shown any form or hunger that suggests they will be fighting for anything this season. There is a lack of confidence among the fans and the international break made it even worse since fans had to live with this situation for 2 weeks. Now, things might change. Take Chelsea for example. No one gave them a chance last season when they were losing/drawing the games they should have won. Then came the turnaround which saw them winning the league. Arsenal have the ammunition to deliver. No Champions League is a welcome boost and the Europa League will be for players outside the first team. A few consecutive wins under the belt in the Premier League and who knows, Arsenal can be a contender for the title. Never say never.